I told my ex-husband's wife that her kids aren't my problem after she cornered me begging for money. So my ex Paul and I were married for 10 years and have 3 kids together. Our divorce 5 years ago was pretty straightforward. I was working full-time, cooking every meal, doing all the cleaning, managing the kids' schedules, and basically running the entire household while he just went to work and occasionally mowed the lawn. I tried talking to him about it multiple times. He'd always say he'd do better, but nothing ever changed. I suggested marriage counseling and he refused. So I left because I'd rather be a single mom to 3 kids than feel like I had 4. He didn't even fight me on custody, just agreed to every other weekend visits and paid his child support without complaint. I thought we'd keep things civil for the kids. Then 3 months after our divorce, he announced he was engaged to this woman named Tanya, who was 10 years younger than me. Oh, and she was pregnant. Yeah, I got STD tests done immediately just to be safe. Tanya used to be an exotic dancer and doesn't work now. They've had 2 kids together since then, plus she has an 8-year-old from a previous relationship. So Paul went from 3 kids to 5 kids real quick. My kids hate going to their dad's house. I never talk badly about him to them, but they can't stand Tanya or her son. They always come back complaining about how chaotic it is over there. Meanwhile, I ended up reconnecting with an old friend named Bruce who'd moved back to town. We started hanging out and eventually fell in love. We got married 2 years ago, and he's amazing with my kids. They actually call him their bonus dad. Last year, Paul and Tanya suddenly sued me for 50-50 custody. I knew exactly what this was about. It wasn't because Paul suddenly wanted to be a more involved father. It was because 50-50 custody means lower child support payments. I had a lawyer, and we had evidence of some concerning stuff happening at their house. The judge not only denied their custody request, but actually reduced Paul's visitation to supervised only, and his child support payments went up. Then I got a massive promotion at work. I'm now making way more money than Paul. But unless he goes back to court, they can't change the child support amount. And in our state, you can only request a recalculation every 2 years. So they're stuck paying the higher amount for at least another year. For months, Tanya kept trying to talk to me. I'd see her number calling and just ignore it. She'd send me Facebook messages that I'd leave on read. I wanted nothing to do with their financial problems. Last week, I was at my oldest son's basketball game, sitting in the bleachers watching him warm up. Suddenly, Tanya sits down right next to me. I tried to move, but she blocked me in. She starts going on about how they're really struggling financially, how they can barely afford groceries with 5 kids, how she knows that Bruce and I are doing well now and don't actually need the child support money. Then she looks at me with tears in her eyes and says, "Please, just think about my kids. They're suffering because of this." I stared at her for a second, then said very clearly, "That child support isn't for me. It's for my kids, from their father. Your kids are not my problem." Her face went completely red. She started sputtering about how heartless I was and how I was punishing innocent children. I just stood up and moved to the other side of the gym. Now Paul's been blowing up my phone saying I'm being cruel and vindictive, that I'm trying to destroy their family just because I'm bitter about the divorce. But here's the thing, if Tanya's so worried about her kids, she can get a job. She hasn't worked in years while I've been busting my butt supporting 3 kids mostly on my own. Bruce thinks I handled it perfectly. My friends agree that their financial problems aren't my responsibility. But my mom said maybe I could have been nicer about it since we have to co-parent with these people. I don't know, maybe I was too harsh. But she literally cornered me at my kids' game to guilt trip me about money that legally belongs to my children.